Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perpetual Chess. We have a return guest joining us who I'm excited to catch up with. She is a professional chess player and content creator. She was the four-time St. Petersburg Women's Champion. She's also a popular commentator, probably best known for her Twitch and YouTube followings, 89,000 Twitch followers, over 400,000 YouTube subs, which I chatted with our guest 2 years ago, actually a little less than 2 years, and she had around 50,000 YouTube subs then, so growing rapidly. She's also quite an active player, so I'm eager to talk about her chess game. But first and foremost, to welcome back to the program, Dina Belenkaya. Welcome, Dina.
Thank you, Ben. That's an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm so excited to be back. Indeed, 2 years have passed and a lot of things have changed. But,
I know, right?
But those are good changes. It's hard to even imagine what was it like 2 years ago. Damn. Honestly, you haven't mentioned it, but I think my biggest pride right now is my Instagram followers, which is even higher. It's something like I'm still processing, but definitely hard work paid off.
Yeah. Where are you? How many Instagram followers last you checked did you have?
So as of today, is something about 570,000.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. I'm grinding, and it's a lot of work posting daily videos since the last 2 years, every single day, shorts and reels. But it's a good thing, it's nice to see your efforts bringing fruits.
Yeah, for sure. And you've also, as we will talk about, you've launched a chess school that we'll get into. And I was surprised because I saw the huge growth on your YouTube, but I also saw that you weren't posting as frequently. But it sounds like you're following the often given advice of sort of emphasizing shorter form content.
Yeah, well, what I believe everybody sees these days with long form, which you mean not posting as much, is actually it's not so easy to find the way of posting posting long content the way people would actually be watching it, right? And it's almost like the standards are becoming so high for it. So indeed, I am posting less long, and I'm working more on figuring out what it should be like, the long form, so that people watch it. But as far as for the short content, posting every day definitely helps so much growing. And it's a big debate, these days. I think a lot of it is due to also the way people consume content. I don't know about you, but even I can see that I don't have patience or interest to look longer videos. I want a quick information and move on. And that's somewhat sad, but I don't know, maybe it's just a normal way the things switch. And then it almost feels like that the only format that kind of is working as a long would be extremely long, ultra long. Us chess YouTubers, we used to post a 10-minute Blitz game. It will be just fine. But it seems like either you post a short or you post a 45-minute plus, kind of something super long that people could put a podcast style. And I do think that the podcast industry kind of on YouTube also changed the way how people enjoy getting their videos these days on YouTube. So it's a very interesting conversation, trying to figure out YouTube algorithms. But yeah, I do think that I got a little bit of a fresh air lately. With the last few months, my long videos have been more or less successful. But it's so relative, right? If I post once a week, for me, it's already a lot. Because for long videos, you got to put a lot of effort. You got to have a script, you got to have a production, you got to have editors, many revisions. Short form, it's already a manufacturer.
That's interesting. And I appreciate how much work you clearly put into it, thought behind it. But I want to return to it, Dina, because I feel like we should start off with your chess game, because not everyone I interview, plays as often as you. And you just played in the Charlotte Open a couple of weeks back. You played in the FIDE World and Rapid and Blitz before that. And obviously you're playing in some smaller events in Charlotte in between. So let's get to the state of your chess game, Dina. How are things going?
Yeah, pretty much staying active as usual. And indeed, apparently I do play a lot. Although for me, it's definitely less than what I used to play before I started streaming. But yeah, chess, like competitive chess, has been like a part of my life like forever, ever since I know myself. So it would be weird just to stop playing, you know? I had this conversation with Sam Copeland from chess.com, and he also told me like you play so much. Like, how do you do that? For me, if I play like 5, 6 tournaments a year, I'm already like kind of worn out. But yeah, I used to have tour maybe every month, every 2 months. So and then here in Charlotte, the tournaments are like in US in general, they're so short. They're kind of like just 2 games a day. So it's like in 3 days, the tournament is already over. Like back in Europe, you know, I'm used to play like tournaments 9 days or 11 days. You have a free day in between. You have 1 game a day. You prepare for the game. So you travel to another place, like, right? So here, like in Charlotte, I live here, so I don't even have to like travel or pack. So it almost doesn't even feel like a tournament.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure, yeah, that makes it easier. And obviously, it's a huge benefit to play, to live in a hotbed like that. But do you prefer the longer European schedule? I mean, it's kind of what what you cut your teeth on.
Yeah, I think it would definitely benefit my game more because I would have more time to prepare for the game and I would have more time to check my openings. And for me, I don't know if that's like we kind of discussed it last time or not, but the biggest like struggle in chess for me have been like to find that workflow, you know, and like playing and competing is so much easier than like actually working on chess, but then
Yeah.
you cannot really like win your games without working. So it's just you want to have an easy way, but there isn't any easy way in chess after a certain level, of course.
Yeah.
So as a part of me definitely like wishes there would be like, even if it's just 1 game a day and less rounds, it will still be easier to breathe for sure.
But I guess like you're high enough rated where if you take buys, you feel like it hurts your chances of doing well in the tournament. Is like, because you could just skip some rounds.
Yeah, people have suggested this option to me several times, and I would always deny it, but actually not for the reason of like competing for any like prizes or places, like high rankings or whatsoever. I think it's just inherently a part of my identity and my sportsmanship. I have certain beliefs. The way I was kind of raised as a chess player back in Russia is that you do not like when you participate in a competition, you do it start from finish. You do not make excuses or like take buys or offer draws or whatsoever. I see it as a huge like kind of like mental and moral weakness. And I don't think it's a good sportsmanship. So that's why I would never do it. Although probably would make my life easier, but it doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I think it's just a different culture here because they're forcing everyone to play 2 games a day. Like I think it's become more part of the culture that it's accepted that you're gonna miss some rounds, or maybe that's just my rationalization as like an old man who likes to take buys. But I still think you should consider it. But I understand where you're coming from. I mean, there's this very pure element in the European style chess tournaments. Just that I think it goes deeper than that. It's there's less money involved. It's just a more relaxed pace, and overall, I'm for it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I don't compete in chess to get any prizes. Like I never
Yeah.
did, right? It was never I was never making my a living through like chess prizes, right? It's just unfortunately it's not as great. But for me, the motivation is my chess performance, my chess goals, my rating, the quality of my games, of my moves, and I just want to like kind of get my chess to the next level, and that's why I'm continuing to stay in the race or in the pace.
Yeah. And so In terms of getting your chess to the next level, obviously playing in the FIDE World Rapid and Blitz in New York in December, a special opportunity to not have to travel that extensively. And I know you had some friends from Charlotte who were also there as well, which I'm sure made it a more enjoyable trip. What was that experience like for you, Dina?
Yeah, New York was amazing. Obviously, it's always an honor to participate in such high level events, World Rapid and Blitz, and like just be a part of a World Chess Championship, right? It's an amazing experience, but I have to like highlight that it's an extremely stressful one and an overwhelming one in terms of when you're actually competing, when you're playing the game, right? In the tournament hall, it's so nerve-wracking, and I definitely lost some of my health there, but it is what it is. The fact that I obviously had like friends there, we had a peer group, was definitely making it like easier to breathe and kind of catch a breath between like probably between the days, right? Like in the evenings and stuff. But I think it's one of those things that you have to do. But it's not an easy one mentally. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So significantly more stressful than like your average tournament?
Yeah, it's uncomparable because you were like, and I didn't have any particular like high expectations. All I wanted to do was to show like my best chess and have some decent games and do like a proper decent result. But even that, you have so much pressure on every game. Like, what if I blunder here in one move? And I did so many blunders, right? And well, everybody did. Like, I was playing with Irina Crush.
Yeah.
In round 2, and she just like blundered the knight in one move, just hang a knight, and I just didn't see it. So like everybody was like that, but obviously you just wanna like, I think your biggest fear is to be like to play badly in those tournaments. So just even that, like the smallest stuff, like all competitive goals possible, right? And still like puts you into so much pressure.
And obviously you're an experienced player. You've played other very prestigious events. Do you have like mantras, or like what's your approach to sort of get through these feelings of heightened nerves?
I wish there was an easy solution. Some coaches would tell me to meditate, obviously sleep enough, walk enough, like at least 1 hour, rest, kind of like don't do that much of a social media, kind of. But yeah, it's hard to combine all of those advices. But I try at least to have a sleep and a proper sleep, proper food, and and like, yeah, walking would definitely be beneficial. But again, there's so many things to do. So yeah.
And you were happy? I mean, I checked out your cross table. It looked like your results were pretty solid to me. Were you happy with how things went overall, despite maybe a few blunders along the way?
I think I'm somewhat more happy with my rapid rather than my blitz, just by the results. But it all came down to the last game. I think my last game in the blitz was a little bit like it was a drama. Yeah, I was playing with Atousa, Hikaru's wife, and it was a very up and down game. And in the end, I was like completely winning. And then it just like probably was a draw, but I kind of didn't want it. And I just walked into a maiden one. Huh. And that was so painful. And then like it was obviously so like, so, how do you say, like, so crazy that Atousa said, "I'm sorry,"
right
after that, because like she could feel like the pain that I would feel. And like I just wish there would be one more game that I could just kind of get back a point. And then like I have a theory, Ben, having competed in so many tournaments for so many years, it doesn't really matter how good or how bad your tournament is. What matters is that how you finish the last game in that tournament. Because if you finished on a good note, you will live with a, somewhat satisfied. But even like, remember Nepo, who was winning the candidates, and like he became my candidate 1 round to spare. It was during the COVID times, 2021, I think. He became a candidate 1 round to spare, and then he kind of relaxed and he lost the last game. It didn't matter, but it was like a very kind of stupid loss. And I'm pretty sure he had this kind of bitterness feeling, after leaving, even though he achieved the goal.
Right.
So, it's extremely important to finish. And if you can finish like the last 2 games, but obviously at least the last round is super important for your mental state.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Dina, I saw you like in the background during the playoffs watching intently. You had like a social media post that got a lot of engagement about women having more energy after in the open section they suddenly agreed to a draw. Like what was your did you have any takes you want to share on all of the drama that seemed to only take place in the open section, not in the women's section?
Yeah, it would be a lie. Like no, it's not like a lie. It would be wrong to say that I'm not confused by how the results ended in the open section. As a competitor, of course, I was there to watch, and I kind of told you already where I stand in terms of sportsmanship, as an athlete, and my take on the draws in the tournaments in general. So yeah, it's I wish you would have done it differently. Yeah, as far as my tweet goes, kind of try to spice it up a little bit. I like kind of provoking and doing stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know what to add there. It's I think everybody pretty much agrees on. I don't know. You had guests, Ben, on podcasts. Was there anyone who was defending the situation?
Not that I interviewed. The times it's come up, yeah, most people disagree with it. You do see the occasional people online who say they're not bothered by it. And for listeners who didn't catch it, Magnus recently did an interview with Kaya Snare for Take, where he did finally talk a little bit about what happened. And he did say that he didn't think things through completely, but of course he stopped short of actually apologizing to like paying customers who paid a lot of money and flew long distances to watch a competition. But he did admit that he hadn't considered all of the points of view or something like that, which was mildly heartening to see. But one other thing on the FIDE World Rapid and Blitz, Dina, how did you feel about the men and the women being in separate buildings? I mean, it was a beautiful building, but still might take away some attention from the women's section.
Yeah, I understand the reasons why this was so. I guess there was just no other option on one hand, in terms of like, obviously in the center of New York, Wall Street, you just can't find enough space. And I think at first the plan was to put everybody in that big hall, but then it would be like I guess the number of wild cards would be like just limited to 1 or 0, right? And so they finally got the second space. I would consider maybe having first, let's say, 20 boards of women in the main playing hall, and then the last, let's say, 20 boards of men in the, like, let's say, second playing hall, kind of splitting. But yeah, there must have been some like kind of technical reasons in terms of organization why they didn't do so. But obviously, usually I find it as a huge disadvantage for us women who compete, because obviously no one's gonna come watch us, and we cannot like go watch like other players, right? So it's now that I think about it, it probably would have been not really possible because women had less rounds and women had faster pairings because less games, right? So yeah, probably from a technical perspective, it wouldn't have been possible to combine those two, but
I think there's a way they could have made it work. They would have had to tweak things, and maybe it's harder just from a pairing perspective because the pairings were slightly staggered. I'm sure that makes it easier from a director's standpoint. But I still think I agree with your overall point, and I think there should be a way to, at least even if you can't have all the people in the same room,
I
have
would say,
some of them.
yeah, I would kind of say that it's obviously extremely limited in terms of promoting women in chess who already suffer from a very lack of interest, lack of attention, etc., etc. So the fact that we were kind of split was definitely not helping at all. And there might have been opportunity to give like to try to change things by, putting women more in front of everybody's eye, just like it was in the finals, right? In the knockout. But knockout itself has also been another thing that I'm not a fan of. Obviously, neither as a chess player nor as a spectator. So, and I think we could see that as I was there are definitely way more people in the Blitz day, in the first Blitz day when everybody was playing. There were way more spectators than like the finals. Plus, it was just before the New Year's Eve, and yeah, it's I think we were lucky to have this event in USA, in New York, and there, like, we wish there would be like kind of it could have been even better, but overall, it wasn't. It was still a really cool and fun experience.
Cool. So you would play again if it's, doable, if it's not too far and the rest of your schedule works?
Yeah, well, I've played before in World Rapid and Blitz. I played in Saudi Arabia. That was my first time in 2017. And then the next 2 years, basically those 3 years were under King Salman name. And so the first one was in Saudi Arabia, and the second one was evidently in Russia. And the third one was also in Russia. So it was like Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, and then it was Moscow, and then St. Petersburg. So obviously that was my home country and my hometown, St. Petersburg. I played in both of them. So I somewhat had already an experience of those tournaments, and it's always fun. I didn't travel as far as to Uzbekistan, but yeah, when you can make it, it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, it looked like, I get what you're saying about it being nerve-wracked. And I already wrote and talked about the sort of organizational issues and stuff, but it's still one of my favorite tournaments. It's hard for it not to be one of my favorite tournaments. And Dina, last time we chatted, you talked about having a secret coach that you were working with on your chess. So I know you're busy and you haven't been studying as much as you would like, even though you managed to play. But so the big question is, do you still have a secret coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Although they might have changed, but
okay.
they're
Different
still a
secret
secret.
coach.
Yeah, they might have changed, but they're still just a secret. But yeah, I do think on my level, coach is extremely important, and I always try to have someone helping me, like guiding me through. And it's obviously mostly it's just gonna be openings, right? But this is what chess is nowadays, especially when you're reaching like a level of a title player. You kind of just want to back up your openings, because then you're gonna improve your middle game strategy, because you're gonna know, like, openings these days are no longer openings. In fact, it's just different middle game positions that occur from this or that openings, right? So so yeah, I'm still working, and I still have my goals, and I still hope to achieve them.
I reviewed our interview, but I don't remember. I don't remember even from reviewing it if we discussed goals. Do you? What are your goals?
So my ultimate goal overall right now is to purchase the next title. And the next title that I'm really trying to achieve is an international master.
Mm-hmm.
And I already have all the norms needed for it. So I just need to get my rating back. And I will say that, unfortunately, now playing USA a lot, this doesn't help my goal. My my rating is being affected by other underrated young American kids, but that's okay. I'm not using that as an excuse, and it's making the process a little bit harder and slower, but it's still doable.
Yeah.
So it's still all on me.
Okay. And I know you do like to travel for tournaments. We talked about Reykjavik some last time we chatted, where you had been. Do you have any tournaments like firmly on your calendar this year?
Funny enough, the next tournament's like abroad is actually Reykjavik
Nice. I
for
wondered about
me.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I am also going to play all the Charlotte events local here. I think we have in the end of March, we have a Spring Open. In the end of April, we have Alto open. And then we have a Carolinas Classic, of course, in June. Really good open tournaments. Alto is really amazing. At least 21, my favorite ones, because you cannot, like, I think, Ben, you were probably coming.
I know.
I
got to try to get back down there. I had a great time the other time I went to Alto. So
it's where you do not have kids because it's starting from 21 years old.
Exactly. And
so
I don't have kids because I leave them at home. So so it's a win-win. Although you did, as we discussed last time, you did beat me last time. So
and I'm looking forward to do that again.
Yeah.
But you can try. You can try.
Yeah, you would be the favorite for sure. Not gonna lie, but maybe you would hang something. All right. Well, Dina, you've got another new project launched since we last chatted. A chess school, currently known as the Russian Chess School, and it looks like it's doing pretty well. You've got a bunch of members. You just did a camp in January where you had this glowing comment on social media that I'm going to read because I think it encapsulates what we're likely to talk about. You wrote, "We're so used to the online world of chess. That's why I created this unique opportunity for my students to meet and learn in person. And I can tell you that nothing beats the energy of real games, face-to-face analysis, and those aha moments shared over the board. Meet our first IRL training camp." And then you have pictures of actual humans playing chess without any screens. It's amazing. So what was that experience like, Dina, and what led up to it?
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate you reading that sweet post out loud. Yes, it was a very first experience, and it was a successful one, and we're so excited together with my team, and we are working on repeating that. Probably a step back, kind of talking to you about my school. So launched in the early April. It's been about 10 months. This is a project that I've been really putting a lot of thought and energy. And I think it's kind of the first time that I kind of launched my own business, and then I started hiring people. So now I'm like, I'm like my own, I don't know, it's like a boss. I don't know.
Right.
It's like and it's, it's a new experience. I think this is something that made me actually become like an adult. That was like, I finally kind of started hiring people, managing people, paying salaries, and making a project, growing a project that I'm proud of. So definitely something for the first time. And yes, as you said, Russian Chess School, we are offering a somewhat unique project, I believe, on the market, which is not just a course, an online course, but also a learning community for adult improvers. People like you, Ben, we're stuck around the same rating.
Yeah.
And, but also have a busy life schedule with managing family, work, and everything, and still want to get better chess, still want to improve, and don't really know where to start, are potentially overwhelmed with the amount of material, and especially all those YouTube videos about random opening traps that are not really helping you at all, but only ruining your chess, because as a 200 rated player, you're memorizing the first 15 moves of some random exchange Caro-Kann or like Alien Gambit or whatsoever. So basically, kind of taking this existing issue and finding a solution to that issue through my own experience and my own education, which is the Soviet chess school, the Russian chess school, where you actually do not waste your time on random opening moves, memorizing random opening moves and traps. Instead, I teach you how to use your brain, how to unlock your brain, and how to think on your own and make decisions in any unknown circumstances. So it is a program with daily plans, right? It's a complete training program that teaches you the basics of chess without needing to memorize whatsoever. But it's also a learning community because you are surrounded by like-minded people who have same goals, who are in the same situation, and who are looking maybe for a support or a guidance, and you're learning together. And trust me, it's so much easier and better. We organize tournaments. I also have an active role. So on top of that, people who are part of the program, they have a direct access to me as a title player, as a woman grandmaster, but also as their coach, whenever they have any question or they want to like share their achievements, or they want to send me, play a game against me. And more or less, I would say every live stream I do these days on Twitch, it's dedicated fully to my students. Let's say I host a tournament for my community every week, or I play Blitz raffles with my students one-on-one, or I analyze their games, and every student has an access to a free game review by me every month. So yeah, it's I think last thing that I would add, and then please interrupt me because I've been going on and on. Pretty
I'm just thinking about how much work you're doing, but go on.
Yeah, I think the last thing that's super important is that this is aimed mostly for people who are new to chess or people who are like chess enthusiasts. But it's not, I wouldn't say that it's a program for competitors. It's really a program for passionate people who are who just want to like little quick fix that will help them get to the next level, and they can share it with their friends, they can share it with their colleagues, and they want to feel comfortable with their chess and satisfied.
So more emphasis on community and less emphasis on competition.
I think it's more so like to give you a perspective, when people ask me what's the rating program is for, I would say we started as until 1500 on chess.com. Now I believe that we are pretty solid until 2000 on chess.com because the program is being updated every day, every now and then. But yes, I think it's a definitely like, if we compared something to Chess Dojo, let's say, I think guys are doing an amazing work. I'm a huge fan. I think our thing is definitely more kind of like less pressure, a little bit more relaxed, probably a little bit more enthusiast oriented, but also obviously with a very solid chess education and a system.
Yeah, it sounds great. And for listeners, by the way, so it's called Russian Chess School. Although Dina was telling me before we recorded, the name may be tweaked, but you get the idea. But I did just want to throw in that if anyone who didn't catch my prior interview with Dina, among other places, she's talked about she's as Russian chess school as it gets because her mom was a chess instructor in St. Petersburg and taught. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and taught Anish Giri, as we talked about, et cetera. So yeah, bringing some of that community aspect to both the online and the IRL world. And Dina, are the classes asynchronous? Or are you doing live classes? Do you have people doing live classes for you? How does all that work?
So we have a group class every week. We have a 1-hour group class every Sunday on Zoom that I give. We have the complete chess program, which is like recorded videos and exercises and tests and like material that you study, which is available in the classroom section. So it's like a library that you get an access to through your subscription, for your monthly subscription. And on top of that, each participant gets a free game review. So every month they send me their game. I look at their game and I send them back a quick video with a review. But I also organize Twitch streams where I sometimes go through their games live on Twitch as well. And we also have weekly tournaments on chess.com that we host. We even have our own round robin championships that we do like as daily tournaments, you know, where people gather together compared based on their ratings, because we have any rating from 0 to 2000. And then we even have a participant who is like 2,500.
Wow.
And they're there just for the community, and like on chess.com, right? Occasionally beating me, flagging me, let's say, but still enjoying the community aspect. Yeah. So, and yes, IRL training camps, that's a new thing that we've just launched as a pivot. It was in January, and that was a success. People loved it. We had 17 participants, and we are absolutely going to repeat one. We're going to have another one here in Charlotte before the Alto in the end of April. And then we're going to have one in Europe, because a lot of my students are from other parts of the world, and especially Europe, of course. So we're going to host another one in Paris in May 17th and 18th, already having dates. So yeah, I would say this is like somewhat like a chess family, right? And we really want to get it outside of just online boundaries for sure.
That's amazing. Well, congrats. I mean, it's really impressive that you built this up so quickly. And as you mentioned, a lot of logistical challenges come with being a grown up. So in terms of like learning to build and grow a business, you know, what's been the most challenging part?
I think definitely managing employees, somewhat people who work for you. I think finding the right people have been a huge struggle. And then understanding like every person is going to have their weak sides and their strong sides, and then understanding like how to highlight their strongest sides and, you know, like, and kind of cover their weakest sides by like with like, you know, within the team. That has been like a huge learning experience for me. And I think I owe a lot of that kind of knowledge and experience to Peter, my boyfriend, as you might know, who is managing a company of 40 plus employees, I believe. So he has been a huge inspiration for me to start my own business in chess. And I've been learning so much, but it's an amazing experience. And I think it helped me definitely become more of my own kind of person, you know, and like feeling that. And also, of course, like, you know, you're crossing 30 years old and you're like, oh my God, you're going into next decade. But I think I'm finally kind of feel myself as a, like, you know, like, okay, now you're an adult. that has been a huge change for me.
The 30s,
yeah.
30s were my favorite decade, I have to say, in terms of age. Is, you know, you feel like you start to figure things out a little bit, but you're not old and washed yet either. Like
no. It's more of like transition. And of course, like I started as a Twitch streamer, so it was like more like I think when we talked, my kind of like brand, so to be, like Dina Belenkaya, was more like purely entertainment, whereas now today with my school and everything, I think it has shifted into edutainment. And even if you look at my reels and my shorts, of course, there are going to be games that I play IRL here and there, and the conversations between people, which people like find amazing, hilarious, and those videos get viral. But oftentimes I also do the educational style of content, and I want to do more of that. I'm actually studying a lot on how to make those, you know, also get views. And we started this podcast with the long form on YouTube, and that's also what I'm trying to figure out, is how to make educational videos, but also entertaining so that people watch them, kind of within the like rules of today's, you know, like kind of industry, right? Like how you say, like entertainment, like, yeah, video industry, video production industry, something like that. So long story short, I think the biggest change has become in my brand overall. What's Dina Belenkaya? Like, and she's a chess ambassador, right? She's a edutainer. She's like, she has a school, she's a coach, but she's also a streamer, but she's also a YouTuber, but she's also a competitor. She's also a commentator. And I absolutely love commentating, have been like doing every now and then on chess.com. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the biggest switch that has happened to, or thanks to my chess school. And it's interesting how it all started, because it was like the perspective of, okay, I have this huge following. I need to do something with it, but what can I do with it? And then just as a joke, it was like, oh, here I come from a Russian chess school. Here is we say this or that things all the time in let's say, don't study openings. Openings are so overrated. Stop wasting your time on all this random opening traps. Don't go for cheap tricks. I personally don't know any opening chess traps. All my, since I was 5 years old, I played E4, E5, D4, D5, right? The correct openings. So, yeah. And then I think I kind of realized that I have this unique kind of access to this information that, the mindset, the knowledge that other people do not. And then they would absolutely benefit from that. And that's what I also put into my school.
That's great. Well, I mean, like I said, it's been really impressive to see all this growth. So you say you're scaling to a point where you're up to anyone 2,000, even 2,500 listening. But especially if anyone listening has friends that are newer players looking to find a community, it sounds like it's a great fit, and it sounds like it's only the beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is only the beginning, and as a matter of fact, right now we're working on a new project that's gonna be chess marathons that we're launching within the next 2 weeks. And our first marathon is gonna be a speedrun 1000. Speedrun to 1000 is gonna be for everyone who is below 1000 and finally wants to, to get to those 4 digits. And it's gonna be in 7 days, an intense program in 7 days that you get all the material that you study, you get the homework, you do that, and you get my guidance, and then in 7 days, boom.
Excellent.
You're a new person.
Okay, well, we'll link to all of Dina's stuff. And last thing, Dina, I didn't know you had a blog. Somehow I'm a huge slacker, and I didn't realize that you were making the occasional blog post until I was getting ready for this. But I saw you wrote a little bit about Fischer Random. I still call it that, freestyle chess. And it's going on as we record this on whatever date it is, February 10th. But you didn't really say in your blog how you feel about it. You just said some people like it, some people don't. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I try to be careful about it because there's obviously so many things on scale. But as I run my educational chess business, I have a learning community. I've been putting so much work into creating a material for people, and I've learned what it's like to be a beginner at chess and the struggles you have. It's hard for me to see how freestyle can actually be helpful to all those people.
Yeah.
I understand the appeal of freestyle to elite chess players who are bored and tired of the countless preparations. But for us, kind of people who have not yet achieved the highest of the mountains in chess, I don't see freestyle being helpful. As a matter of fact, I think most of my students might not necessarily even know. It's okay. I wouldn't say that. I would say many of my students don't know basic chess rules, can occasionally put the queen and the king on the wrong color, or not necessarily know when you castle, you touch the king first. If you touch the rook first, then you will be forced to move the rook, right? Or what's the difference between long castle and short castle? So it's kind of, I think my point is that chess is already overwhelming enough for most of the adult improvers. And then freestyle thing just doesn't help get over this anxiety of, learning chess.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Even for me, it's like it's hard to have the bandwidth. And again, I like you said, I totally get the professional perspective. By the way, we're recording this February 10th, and for last I saw, Magnus is going to go on the Joe Rogan podcast on February 19th. So he'll be trying to do the freestyle sell to the masses. So that should be interesting. But yeah, to me, it's an uphill climb. So we'll see how it works out. All right. Well, Dina, as we discussed, you're extremely busy, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. Any other topics we should discuss before we say goodbye for now?
Well, I'm curious, just as a quick kind of reaction to what you mentioned. I heard of that Jay Rogan thing. Do you think they're specifically gonna teach the freestyle?
I think it's actually, I should have said this to begin with, Dina. It's going to be Magnus and Butner, the founder of Freestyle Chess. So while Butner, I'm sure he's got a compelling story of his own, obviously immensely successful. But as a chess fan, I'd be more interested in hearing like a wide ranging interview with Magnus about like getting married and like, you know, his recent issues with FIDE and so on and so forth. Whereas I feel like most likely, given that it's both of them, this will be more centered on freestyle chess. And, you know, Joe Rogan does have a background in mixed martial arts, which there might be some similarity where you try to do mixed skills rather than a specific skill. But again, to me, it just feels like chess, as you said very well, it's complicated enough for most people. So freestyle chess, it just makes it more complicated.
I think the issue is that to understand how to play freestyle and to know what to do, you need to know all the basics of standard chess. And in a way, that's somewhat I could see it as the benefit of being a part of my training program, because I specifically tell people forget about openings.
Right.
Just control the center, develop your minor pieces and castle, king safety, center control, piece activity. Those are the three super important factors. You know, don't bring your queen too early. Just connect your rooks, bring your rooks to the center, put your rooks on the open files. In the end game is when the kings are swapped. In the end game, the king is the strongest piece. Always play the endgame with your active king, unless there are a lot of pieces, right? Always bring your king to the center. Of course, your goal in the endgame is to promote a pass pawn. So have a pass pawn, or like if you have a rook endgame, then make sure your rook is active. It's behind the pawn, not in front of the pawn. You know, and all those things that I teach in my school, these are the things that would help any adult improver, actually not get lost in the freestyle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So in a way, like, I still kind of stand to my grounds that what I teach is extremely important and helpful and could help you totally in a freestyle. But even those things that I told you, Ben, in the space of 1 minute, people are struggling so much. Like, for example, another thing, that the common mistake, I say, never touch a developed piece. Don't move the developed piece twice when you still have undeveloped pieces, right? You already put your knight out, then develop your bishop. Why are you bringing your knight again? Why are you moving your knight again? Of course, unless there is some tactical benefit, like you're winning a pawn, you're beating a piece, or you're being attacked, you have to move. I get that. But just as it is, those are also so simple. It took me 1 minute to tell you them. But people still struggle. And then imagine how they would be reacting when the position is completely messed up, right, from the very beginning. But as a matter of fact, it can be a fun thing to do. So, fun fact, our last tournament, weekly tournament, was freestyle. And this week we're hosting freestyle as well. But again, just to have fun. Kind of like, you know, like change a little bit your, like a scenery, you know, like a travel somewhere, take a vacation, right, something like that. But I don't see the appeal long term, but I absolutely love the drama. I love the fact that there is a discussion, there is a debate, more eyeballs on chess. You know, this is a cool thing. And if we were, another thing I would add is that competition is what makes a better product. competition on the market is always better for the customer. I'm so good at chess as a WGM. I'm only number 30, was number 30, 25 at my peak in my country of Russia. When I made a transfer to Israel to be a part of Olympic team, I was number 2, right? That shows you, like, so what I mean is that, have I been growing up in Israel as a chess player? Probably wouldn't have gotten as far just because there was less competition. Yeah. When I was playing in France, I lived for 7 years in France. I was like maybe rated number like 3 or 5 or something like that, right? Even like here in US, of course, a WGM is like, oh my God, she's a WGM. Like, you know, it's like a goddess. Well, in Russia, she's just a WGM. Like, right. What is just a, like, it's not like an amateur. WGM is an amateur in Russia. So my point is that competition makes a better outcome, a better product. So if we were having this 2 like kind of sides of like market with like FIDE and the freestyle creating their own like variant of chess, I do think it would be better for the overall kind of like, I guess, in a way, boom. I hope so. So it's an interesting thing to discuss, Ben. It's 2025 is expected to be a fun year with lots of shows about chess, lots of stuff incoming, and the fact that Magnus is making an appearance on Joe Rogan is definitely a huge thing. So that's going to be an interesting thing to witness.
Yes, it will. All right. Well, Dina, I hope to see you at a tournament soon. Hope to catch up down the line. But in the meantime, obviously, good luck with the continued growth of your school and with the chess grind and the content grind and everything else. Any closing thoughts or advice?
Well, Ben, whilst you might be a little too good for my school, I do hope to beat you again.
Yeah, you can still school
tournaments.
Me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good, Dina. Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite. As always, an honor and a pleasure. Thank you, Ben.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.